new hot and techy Brezza, the city-bred SUV.
All done and dusted between MI and CSK, but the Southern Derby has a classico feeling of itself when the Sunrisers Hyderabad play the Royal Challengers Bengaluru, an IPL final contested between them that is fondly remembered by Sunrisers fans, and they do travel back to the Chinnaswamy, where a struggling RCB need to pick it up. It's either now or never, and that's what we build up to on this Monday evening on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout. This is the Tom Moody fixture, but unfortunately, we've had to drop him for today. It's a harsh call, but if you see what we've replaced him with, I'm sure the viewership would have no problem. Wasim, Jaffer, Mitchell McClenaghan joined me in welcoming the great Ian Bishop on the show for the first time.
So we got myself in because I'm closest in height to Tom.
Yes, stature.
That's the only reason.
Stature, height, and not to mention, I've been waiting to show my appreciation to you. The last time you and me were on any kind of show, I had the extremely annoying job of not asking the questions and being on that side.
Yes.
And you remember how unkind you were to me.
No.
Right towards the end.
I don't remember.
Back on my turf.
I don't remember that at all. I have no recollection.
Do you like what we've done with the place, though?
It looks lovely.
Yes.
And your guests make it look even better.
And I insist, since I have some control here, to have everyone seated so the slight difference in height is not exposed and my shortcomings are not exposed. RCB shortcomings are being exposed. Let's talk about that. They have won a toss, though, and they are bowling first. Does that give them a slightly better chance, Wasim, Jaffer? Is it fair to say it's now or never? They lose this one and there's no coming back?
They're not coming back anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's a chance for them, without a doubt. If they hold on to Sunrisers batting to below 200 or 210, but that's their best chance. You know, their batting can only win them games if they fire. So far, they haven't fired, but you know, hoping for the best for their big fan base to at least give them something to cheer.
If you had to pick one thing that is wrong, and you can't necessarily pick a player or such, but just from an issue, what would it be for RCB, and sort of how close would selection be to that answer?
Well, the one problem's form. That's what it is. It's form of your big players. And when you go into a tournament with identifying that your batting is your strength, and then after the first 2 or 3 games your batting doesn't fire, that's the problem, right? They've set the whole team up around that. So now it's Scramble City and trying to maybe change that strategy and maybe go with more of a bowling-centric type lineup. But they just haven't had the the bravery to actually say that we will play 2 overseas bowlers and actually change their tact by identifying that their forms, the batters haven't been informed. So
that, I believe, will change today. I'm going to come to that
Great.
in a second.
Perfect.
No, I'll tell you what. That MI-RCB game where they failed to defend 196 bish, did you do the chat with Faf towards the end? Was that you?
Yes.
Where he said, we don't have the weapons
Yes.
in our bowling.
Yes.
Now, this is a team that we thought their batting is their big strength. We knew the bowling is vulnerable. Now the batting's falling apart too. I wonder what your thoughts are on if you were in the RCB dugout with all the bowlers that they do have, or your captain sort of saying, yeah, 6-7 games into it, our bowling is not good enough.
It's that would be a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, that would do nothing for my confidence if I were one of those guys sitting there. So Faf would have to have that discussion with them personally. Someone like Vaishak, for example.
Yes.
I know he didn't have a great game at the Wankhede, but he was someone that I was wondering, why is he not playing more often? Reece Topley has been bowling well. He's been their general. So I do think that come maybe next year, they have to sort of bolster their bowling ranks.
Yep.
But they got to make do with what they have.
And you also have an opinion on fast bowling, in particular power play fast bowling, especially if you're being paid to do that at the Chinnaswamy, that you possibly should be.
Should be paid more, much more. Fast bowlers who bowl in the power play should be paid more in general, much more so if you're playing at the Wankhede or you're playing at the Chinnaswamy for a living. I know the batter here probably won't agree with that, but I'm sure I'll get some support from Mitch.
definitely,
I agree.
Who said that? Like, can we propose to the BCCI that now at the next auction, anyone who's bowling in the power play automatically gets double the pay or triple the pay? Wasim, would you welcome such a change?
Yeah, I mean, if it delivers, obviously.
Oh, wow. So performance-based.
Performance-based.
Oh.
Yeah, obviously, IPL is performance-based.
All right.
See,
yeah.
if that's going to happen,
Otherwise, everybody will put their hand up that I'm going to bowl in the power play.
So you have to do it well. You have to
do it well.
You have
Yeah.
to be able to deliver
Yeah.
based on commensurate with the salary. It's a tough job, though. I mean,
is,
you look at so many manipulations with only 2 fielders outside and guys trying to get fielders everywhere. It really is hard, especially on these small grounds.
I'd like if it is going to happen and you do get paid more, I'd like some back pay. I've still got
retrospective
PTSD. PTSD bowling at Wankhede in the power play.
Mumbai Indians must be a really sort of tight-paid job for so many years, with 4 titles and no bonuses that come with it, I'm sure. Right. On that note, our focus is not Mumbai Indians, it is RCB. And one of their problems, Mitch McClenaghan talks about form. It's also been selection. Let's have a look at how many players they've used. Chopped and changed. As many as 19 only Delhi have fielded more players. It was initially steady. You could see between Karan Sharma, Lomror and Vaishak, it was how you use the impact sub, right? Either you go for a pacer or a spinner, and there's your batter. Then suddenly things began to change, where we saw Alzari Joseph left out, Topley came in, Lomror was in and out, not in when we thought he would. Saurav Chauhan was introduced. Himanshu Sharma is the preferred spinner to Karan Sharma. And then the big call against Mumbai, dropping Cameron Green against his former franchise, playing Will Jacks. And there's a host of other changes. We didn't see Yash Dayal there either. Today, we can add 2 more to that. Because I can tell you now, gentlemen, that Glenn Maxwell is sitting out. We were told that he's not got anything serious, but he's missing this game. He took a knock in the last one. And Mohammad Siraj is out as well. So for the first time this season, RCB will play 2 overseas fast bowlers, as Lockie Ferguson will debut for them, and partner Reece Topley. Yash Dayal returns. So Akashdeep misses out along with Siraj. And on that left-hand side, you have Faf du Plessis and Will Jacks with Saurav Chauhan coming in. Right, that is a lot to take in, but let me get the big call of playing Lockie Ferguson with Topley and no Maxwell. Mitch.
Well, I don't think it's a massive call. I think he probably should have been playing at the start of the season. I know he picked up an injury early in the tournament after the first couple of games and has come back. So obviously it might have been a fitness issue until now, but he's a serious player. And when you talk about power play bowling, I think at Bengaluru, I think he's going to be an asset, particularly to the left-handers. I'd like to see, you've got 3 brand new ball bowlers there. You've got Yash Dayal, you've got Reece Topley, and you've got Lockie Ferguson. In my mind, if they're tactically correct tonight, I think Lockie Ferguson is your best matchup to Travis Head. We saw a drop catch at second slip, I think when CSK played Sunrisers. Deepak Chahar ran one across it and nicked them off, and Moeen Ali dropped it. That's your number 1 plan to a player like Travis Head, and they're going to have to take power play wickets. It's a very, very dangerous batting lineup SRH has got, and he's the guy who I think can have the biggest impact tonight.
You do see him bowling in the power play, though, in this team, Lockie Ferguson.
I'd like to. I've played a lot of cricket with Lockie, and he's kind of been put into that pigeonhole of being your enforcer, your middle overs guy, but he's never been like that at Auckland. He's always been a guy who can win you the game in the first couple of overs by taking 2 or 3 quick wickets. And it's not something we've seen enough internationally or in T20 cricket. And I think tonight's the night where if RCB get it right, he'll have a massive impact if he takes that new ball.
There's no doubt that they had a problem with power play bowling. Just breaking the numbers down, it's tough at the Chinnaswamy, but they were much better than an average of 91.75 last year when Siraj and Hazelwood took a bulk of that responsibility in the power play. The economy is also the worst so far in the season. They also come up against a team that has actually had the best numbers. So this is the most, or the poorest bowling in the power play of this year's IPL against the strongest batting in the power play of this year's IPL in the form of Hyderabad. Second just to Sunil Narayan and Phil Salt at the Kolkata Knight Riders, but 10.66, this is a serious challenge. The absence of Siraj Dobish. Now here's your premier Indian seamer, not in form. And as a result of whatever's happened, they've left him out. Is that sometimes a good thing? Or is that something that's not going to help him get his mojo back anyway?
No, I think for me it depends on how the person takes it, because I've seen it work before. You leave a guy out, even at his stature, just for a game or 2, let him take a breather, and I've seen guys come back in, refocused, re-energized, and go on to excel in the next part of the season. So I can't think this will be for the rest of the season. Not Siraj, not someone of that stature. On the other hand, if he takes it personally and takes a knock, you could be brooding all around. So I would say, I don't know if it's injury. We know it's not an injury.
We'd like to believe it's not an injury. I think he said Maxwell is sitting out and so is Siraj. So those are the words of Faf.
Okay. So there's been a lot of cricket going on, so I would like to think it'll be taken positively. From
You
that
know a bit
sense.
about how Siraj is as a character, and it's been a tough few months for him also. We didn't see the best of Siraj in the England tests either, and he's part of this team now where bowling is just not coming together. Is this the right way to deal with him?
I don't think so. I think he would have, knowing Siraj, he obviously would have liked to play and contribute. Knowing that the World Cup is around, him sitting out obviously won't help his confidence. Obviously, the way the tournament has gone for him, he would have liked to change it, but he can only change it if he plays. And with those two guys coming in, I think it would have helped him. Those two overseas seamer coming in,
That's
probably.
an interesting point. He's probably missing out on the day they're playing their strongest bowling.
So I think he'll be definitely upset knowing him.
Yeah.
He'd be upset.
Yeah.
But does it make him better? Because he's been going for a load of runs. And I know from a bowler's perspective that I hear your point, but you just keep going, and sometimes you can lose confidence. That's the other side of it, because you haven't been going well, and sometimes I've seen it, and we've seen it in the IPL. Guys get pulled out for a game or two, and suddenly they're back in. They've worked on something in practice. They're back in. So it can go either way.
Are they mostly batters, those guys who get...
No, I've seen it with bowlers.
Bowlers as well. You've seen Siraj a little closer than we have at the grounds, etc. Anything from a technical standpoint as to why he's not having the impact with the new ball when he was so good last year?
He swung it more last year.
Yeah.
And he hit a length more from what I saw last year. I think we talked about this last year, that a couple of years ago he was bowling too many scrambled seam deliveries in my view. Last year he came back with a more upright seam position and he swung it. I don't know why he isn't swinging it as much, but he doesn't seem to be hitting that good length appropriately as much as he did last year.
Yeah. Anything else to add to that?
No, that's a good point. And I think when you're searching for performances, sometimes you can get quite tense, and without knowing Siraj or seeing him at training or anything like that, just looks like the ball is starting to come out more scrambled, and sometimes your grip pressure can get a bit tighter, and then it doesn't come out bowled upright with the seam. So it could be something as small as that he's just got too much pressure on the ball and it's not coming out from the hand very nicely.
So to that point then, a game or two out, and I get your point, it could go either way, a game or two out just to introspect and reflect and maybe a chance to relax and work on something. Could.
100%. Plus he's played a lot of cricket,
Yes.
right? Played a lot of cricket. Tom Moody spoke about a couple of times about he looked tired.
Yes.
And maybe it's a big tournament, right? So maybe a couple of days, a couple of games off, good little rest period will be do wonders for him.
Okay, can I see that RCB team one more time? Since they're bowling first, sometimes with the impacts, we retrospectively count the bowling they have. You got 4 on the side there, Vaishak, Topley, Ferguson, Dayal, 4 options. No Glenn Maxwell today. So you're going to get 4 overs out of Will Jacks and Mahipal Lomro, who has not bowled all season. Yeah. But you're going to get 4 overs out of Will Jacks. Normally Maxwell shares the burden of that. Okay then? Anybody? They had plenty of bowling, didn't they? So, anyone? Do they have enough bowling, Will Jacks, to bowl 4?
No, I don't think so. Especially if he's bowling obviously against Abhishek Sharma or Head at the start, or then Klaasen and company.
I'd imagine he'll bowl 2 at the front in the first 6.
Because you have 2 left-handers.
You've got 2 left-handers.
Yeah.
But that's where it's difficult, right? Because you've got Lockie, you've got Reese, you've got Yash Dayal.
So that's where they drop Siraj. They have someone else bowling in the power play. That's going to be Will Jacks.
So, yeah, I'd imagine he'll take the first over because they're going to have to squeeze those overs through, aren't they? And then hopefully they can get 2 out of him. Then he bowls the 7th, and then he's out of it before Klaasen comes in. Maybe out by 9. But that's a big punt.
Just saying, again, if you look at that team one more time, Siraj is on the impact bench, just in case. They're going to surprise us. They have Rawat who they can add to their batting in the second half when they chase, unless they've come up with some great plan to bring in Siraj as the impact sub halfway through. We've never seen it, but you know how when batting collapses happen and you have to trigger the impact sub in the first innings? Never seen it the other way around, where there's a bowling collapse and you have to. Anyway, enough of that. Let's focus on the Sunrisers. Pat Cummins at the toss jokingly says to Danny Morrison that about 240 is par at the Chinnaswamy Stadium. And as we look at the Sunrisers team, they did trigger the impact sub in their last game. Thrilling game as it was, they managed to squeeze the result against the Punjab Kings. But they have continued to go with what's a new look Sunrisers batting lineup with Markram at 3, Head and Sharma, and Nitish Reddy, who was excellent in that game. Rahul Tripathi was brought in when they had a top order collapse of sorts. But otherwise, it's a pretty deep batting lineup with lots of hitters right up and down till Abdul Samad and Pat Cummins at number 8. And one would think that they have the option of either Markande's leg spin or Umran Malik's pace when they have to defend in the second innings. Fair enough, Wasim? Or would you have been tempted to bring in Tripathi?
No, I don't think so. This batting lineup looks solid, unless obviously it's a bad collapse. I don't see anybody else coming in. Probably will be Markande because they've got 4 seamers, and Umran hasn't bowled the best yet. Even when he played, he only bowled 1 over. So I would guess Markande would be that guy.
All right. Have they surprised you to some degree as to how good they've been? Sunrisers, a team that didn't quite have the same oomph last year.
Yeah, they had the talent, but they hadn't been sort of lining it up. And again, they're playing very aggressively.
Yep.
I love what I saw of Nitish Reddy and the way he played, and then he offers you that seam bowling capacity in the last game. So, look, they'll probably fall over once or twice, but they're very aggressive and they've got some quality.
I know the answer to this when I ask you, but would you like to see Umran Malik, who we've only seen 1 over of?
I don't know if I want to see him at the Chinnaswamy, to be honest, but I'm a big fan. And look, I think he's got pace. You can't buy that down in the supermarket. I don't know if he's been handled as well as I would like to have seen over the last couple of seasons. But I don't know Umran per se, whether he has that savviness to learn and to learn quickly, but he certainly has something that is very rare.
I mean, that one game we did see where he got an over, we could see also a bowler was struggling. He had to reload a few times, missed his run-up, and wasn't given the confidence to bowl even at the end. So, would he be a better option than Markande, or Markande is the likelier option today, you sense, just very quickly?
Yeah, I mean, with Umran, you have to find a spot where he bowls. He's not somebody who can bowl in all 3 phases.
Yeah.
And he hasn't learned those variations, for my liking. When he gets it, he wants to bowl faster and faster, and sometimes the batters want that. He hasn't got those variations where he disguises batsmen or beats them with his thinking. So until he learns that, it's pretty one-dimensional at the moment, in my opinion.
Can I get something off my chest here?
Of course you can. That's why I have you here.
Off here.
Yeah.
I mean, to your point, I mean, that's a brilliant point. But what has been beating me up is someone like a Jasprit Bumrah, and we were talking about it off here. I think you've got the premier bowler across formats in the world game as a fast bowler. Guys like Mayank Yadav, Umran Malik would do very well to have a formal few sessions with Jasprit. No one else, just let Jasprit have them, whether it's by technology or face-to-face, and talk about bowling, what needs to be bowled, how you assess pitches. It can't hurt to have that, because clearly some guys take longer to learn than others, but when you've got a gold standard like Bumrah, you got to use him. I mean, Umran Malik has something you want to procure.
Did you find that to be more beneficial, a colleague or the guy who's still at the peak of his powers playing then, rather than coaches and academy coaches, and whose job it is, you think, to sort of...
Coaches have their place. I'm sure coaches have their place. But just getting a guy who is at the peak of his powers, some young people look up to that more, even though he might deliver the same message that the coaches have been delivering. Just the fact that he's in the spotlight and he is the guy doing it at the moment, the antennas tend to go up more to some people and the message gets through, because it's a different car bringing you to the destination just by dint of that.
Let's talk to someone who's actually spoken to Bumrah as well, I'm sure, and he is one of those bowlers who can also pass on that information. It's not, there are some great players who sometimes can't articulate their thoughts as well to pass it on, but Bumrah is not among those, is he?
No, he's not. He's very switched on. He's very intelligent. His cricketing IQ is off the charts, as you've alluded to, Bish. I think to your point, Wasim, is that when you get a player like Umran Malik, whose default is to try and go faster and faster, well, that's the opposite with Jasprit Bumrah. He will be 2 steps ahead of the batsman. He will be thinking about what ball he finished the last over with to you if he bowls to you again. Right. Because he'll be trying to think what you're setting up for. And because he's got such a great armoury of deliveries, then he'll choose which one you're not expecting. So he's ahead of you at the start of the over. And then you're trying to guess what he's going to do. So in terms of cricket IQ, in terms of tactics, and probably the area we need to touch on in terms of preparation, he is the gold standard. He is by far the most outstanding bowler I've seen in terms of preparation. And it's not something we talk about enough. And I've been a part of teams and team meetings and where people don't want to sit down and do the study because they're like, this is my skill, I'm just going to stick to my strengths. It doesn't work. It works for a period of time, you'll look great, you'll be outstanding, but you won't have a long career because you have to evolve. And you also have to understand that at times, your best delivery, you're not going to execute it. So if that's the only skill you've got, if that's the only apple you can pull out of the tree, then you're going to struggle.
He said that the other day. He said, I can't be a one-trick pony. No bowler can be a one-trick pony. He says, I think he was talking to Sanjay the other night, and he said, I can't go pole hunting all the time because today my Yorker might not be working, my rhythm might be off, so I have to find something else to go to.
Yep. All right. We wait to see whether we can get a little bit of Umran Malik a little later today. It'll also be when RCB are chasing, and perhaps that also is right up Kohli's alley. He loves playing against the Sunrisers. He's struck better against them than any other opposition. And are we also seeing a different Kohli? Yes, the jury will always be out, and he will trigger opinions and emotions like few others, maybe Rohit Sharma after yesterday too, about strike rates. But as we look at Kohli over the years, are we seeing a more conscious Kohli of his strike rate? 138 is the highest in the middle overs. That is over 7 to 16 in the last 5 seasons, where Kohli was going closer to 110s in 2020 to 2022. That's been on its way up so far. And we're seeing a strike rate of 138. I mean, there are opinions on Rohit Sharma's 100 yesterday, which finished at 160, and yet somehow we expect these two titans to do more. Are we seeing a more intent-driven Virat Kohli in the middle this IPL from what you've seen?
I think this season, yeah, for sure. He'll definitely score a lot of runs or he'll show the intent in the power play. But after the power play, it's very obvious. We've seen it this season. If I can recollect the 2016 or 17 season, he used to hit a lot of sixes to spinners in the middle overs. That we have not seen for the last 2-3 seasons. And I think he's trying to come back to that. And if he does that, I think that strike rate will go up and up.
Yeah. Do you sense that sometimes he gets trapped between going at 4th gear in the power play, and the minute he goes down to 2nd or 3rd gear, there's almost, you're waiting to see, has Kohli slowed down? But actually, has he slowed down from whatever your observations are, just as far as purpose and intent and the energy with which he plays with goes?
From a numbers perspective, it kind of gets a little bit calm.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. And then it depends on the other guys around him. So I think it's something, the way that the modern game is gone, that needs to be sorted out.
Yeah.
There's some guys out there, and I'll have to go away and try and find the numbers, but there's some guys out there who have ball-by-ball aggression patterns in their overs, and just from the top of mind, there was like, James Vince is a really good example. First ball, not overly aggressive, and as the over goes on, if he hasn't hit you, 3rd and 4th ball, he's running down the wicket and going after you. I think Kohli always attacks the first couple of balls of the over, and then as the over goes, I think his strike rate goes down. Like, don't quote me on that, I'll go back and find the numbers. But watching it, it looks like I'll get a boundary off the first ball of the over, and then I will get my 1s and 2s and take the over for 7 or 8. What I'd love to see for Kohli, which is going to take to the next level, because he's so good and he can do it, is that first ball goes to the boundary, that second ball goes to the boundary, and hold on, I'm going to do
what are you going
I'm thinking left-hander. Geez, how have I forgot this one? Anyway, what I'm saying is like, are you Yuvraj Singh? That's shocking from me.
Oh, that's right.
I'm going to try and take this for 30. I'm going to try and take this over for 36. I'd love to see that from him, because that's the one thing we haven't seen for a while. We usually see it at the back end in the death, usually in the 20th. So we know he can do it. But I'd love to see it earlier and put his team ahead of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've discussed this before too. It'd be nice to see them in a performing batting lineup. It just seems like he puts all the weight of the responsibility of RCB on his shoulders. So the stakes are too high for Kohli to take too big a risk.
Does anyone else have that expectation of him? I don't have any.
That's what I would like to see for him when he plays for India, for example. Because that's a strong batting lineup.
Yeah.
And that's what I think Rohit Sharma has shown as well. And yes, and Rohit Sharma is allowed to play that way for Mumbai Indians because he's playing in the batting lineup. He has a lot more faith in. And I don't think it's the same situation with RCB.
Yeah.
So if they were all in form, which is the point you touched upon earlier, then maybe we would see it. However, I think you could almost change the whole story with numbers with batting first versus chases. It just does not seem to be an issue because when he has the score in front of him, rarely have we seen him play in innings that sort of falls back. Either he gets out or he'll take you through or get you in there. Rarely has it been unsure. Fair enough, the chase has just changed everything for him.
I think the calculation works in his mind that, how he can get to that 16, 18 or even in till the last run. He calculates like that. But I mean, I kind of agree that he needs to, put on that extra gear when he's batting first, which he has shown this season. And he needs to do that because that's where the game is heading, and that's why probably India haven't done well in the T20 World Cups because we've taken that defensive approach. As soon as we lose 1 or 2 wickets in the power play, we go to that defensive. It needs to be in that.
Anchoring is the word.
Yeah,
anchoring. There's no room for anchors.
No way.
Yep. All right, fair enough. Now, let's have some fun, shall we? If you were to explain the impact zone to Bish Mitch in one line, how would you explain it, given the extraordinary record you have in it?
Yeah, don't do what I do.
Okay.
Very much.
It's time to enter the impact zone. Okay, for the benefit of Ian Bishop joining us for the first time, as well as our viewers, if you're not familiar, each expert on the panel will pick 3 players, a batter, bowler and a wildcard, could be anyone else, no repeats. Impact points for each player, counted as per ESPN Cricket for Smart Stats, much better way to assess the impact of a player in the shortest format than conventional numbers. And the expert with the highest points tally for each match gets 3 in their season tally. Right. So let's start with Wasim. So you can get an idea of how things go. We can start with the batter, right? Wasim, pick your batter for today.
Kohli.
Oh wow! Okay, awesome.
Okay.
Bish, no repeats. You can pick one batter. Klaasen. He knows how to play this game.
He does, doesn't he?
He knows.
I'm going to go with Will Jacks.
Okay, Will Jacks. Bish, you can pick a bowler now. Would you like to see the lineups?
I'm going to go Pat Cummins.
Pat Cummins for Ian Bishop.
He's good at this, isn't he?
He's very good.
The problem is you've picked what I would have picked, so that's not a good omen. That's not a good omen.
Well,
so maybe you're
definitely
lifting
come
the
off the
curse.
bottom now when I take that place.
I'm going to go Lockie Ferguson.
Lockie Ferguson for Mitch McClenaghan. Mr. Jaffer.
I'm going to go Unadkat.
Ooh, not good. Wildcard time. Mitch, fire away.
Travis Head.
Wasim.
I'm going to go Abhishek.
Abhishek Sharma for Wasim Jaffer. And one to go, Bish.
What's the wild card again?
Anyone. Batter, bowler, whoever you want. Whoever's left.
Oh, Travis Head.
Travis Head's taken. Mitch took
is he?
Travis Head.
Nice.
We are on the same wavelength. That's good.
I'll go Faf.
Faf du Plessis. And I enjoy myself in this. I pick after all 3 of you.
Yeah.
And I pick whatever's left,
This is a new
by
thing.
the process of
Right.
elimination.
I've been waiting for this for years.
To do, all I need to do is not finish last. Right? So once I don't finish
I
last.
thought you covered with that.
One of you has. So I would have loved to go for Siraj, but that's not an option anymore. I am going to go with, can I see the team, please? One last time, very quickly. Any team.
How does he get to see the team when he's picking?
Yes, all right. I'll go Topley, Markram, and Nitish Reddy. Excellent.
Oh.
Good choice.
All right. Predictions for the first innings and an outrageous pick as well. Wasim.
I would say score. Do I have to say score?
Yes, sir.
210.
210. Mitch?
Well, I'll go with Pat Cummins. He said 240 was par, so I'll go
240?
I'll go 236.
236. Bish?
210, 236, 201.
201. Anyone making an outrageous pick? Come on, let's show Bish what we do now. Very quickly. Anyone outrageous pick?
Your choice.
Come on, Mitch, stop cheating.
I think I think there will be 350s in the first innings.
350s in the first innings. Wasim?
We might see a maiden over.
Oh, maiden over.
Whoa.
Chinnaswamy, what an outrageous pick. Right, Bish, come on. Anything.
Somebody get 100.
Somebody
That's not
get 100.
outrageous. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Ian Bishop, Wasim Jaffer, and Mitch McClenaghan. That is where we wrap up on our pre-show. Join us at the end of the Sunrisers innings to see where things stand on Maruti Suzuki Arena Presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout, and do download the mobile app. If you haven't already, have you covered with everything happening in the IPL. Will Jacks has started to the two left-handers of the Sunrisers. This should be fun. Let's see how it ends.
All new hot and techy Brezza, the City Bread